You have until sundown to tear down that fence, or I'm having it bulldozed. That's what Karen Whitfield screamed at me 2 hours after I buried my father. I was still in my funeral suit, standing in the dirt where Dad used to grow tomatoes, when she rolled up in her golf cart, waving a violation notice like a winning lottery ticket. Little did she know, the deed in my glove box was about to end her reign forever. But before I tell you how one folded piece of paper turned an HOA tyrant into a tenant, drop a comment. What's the pettiest thing your HOA has ever fined you for? Tell me where you're watching from. My name's Daniel Reyes, 34, and 3 days earlier I'd buried my father. Manuel, the man who built our house with his own hands back in 1991, he left me the house free and clear, in one sealed envelope, taped inside his workbench, that he told me not to open until the vultures circle. I didn't understand what that meant until Karen showed up. Karen Whitfield, HOA president of Cedar Hollow, mid-50s, visor sunglasses, a golf cart with vanity plates that said Queen Bee, she, informed me, while my father's flowers were still fresh on his grave, that his handmade cedar fence violated aesthetic guidelines, and that I owed $4,200 in back fines she claimed had been accumulating for months. Your father was difficult, she said, smiling like a shark. I'd hate for the son to be difficult, too. Tear it down by Friday, or the association will do it for you, and bill you double. That night, hands shaking, I opened Dad's envelope. Inside was a property survey from 1988, a letter in his handwriting, and a deed, not to our lot, but to the private access, road and utility easement running, under half of Cedar Hollow, including Karen's driveway. Dad had bought it decades ago from the original developer, back before the HOA existed, as a way to protect our well water rights. He'd never told anyone. Some fences, his letter said, you don't tear down, you use them. I met with a real estate attorney named Priya Malhotra the next morning. She read the deed twice, then looked up at me with the expression of someone watching dominoes line up. Daniel, she said, your HOA doesn't own this road, you do, which means every one of their community maintenance, fees for road upkeep for the last 15 years, has been billed on a road that isn't theirs to maintain. Karen didn't back down. She escalated. Fake code violations, a rumor campaign calling me unstable after my father's death. She even convinced 2 neighbors to block my driveway during a peaceful community gathering. But every escalation left a paper trail, and paper trails don't lie. Then came her biggest mistake. She filed for an emergency injunction to force the sale of my unsafe, blighted property and scheduled it for the same week as the HOA's annual meeting, where she planned to publicly humiliate me in front of all 60 households. She had no idea I'd be bringing my own paperwork. Friday night, the community hall was packed. Karen stood at the podium with a slideshow titled, Protecting Cedar Hollow's Standards, complete with photos of my father's fence captioned like crime scene evidence. When she opened the floor, I stood up. Actually, Karen, I think everyone here should see this. I walked to the front and laid the 1988 deed on the table under the projector light. This is the deed to the access road every one of you drives on every single day. My father owned it, now I do, which means the HOA has been collecting road maintenance fees for a road it never had the right to touch. The room went dead silent. Karen's face drained of color. That's impossible, she stammered. We've maintained that road for years. With our money, I said, sliding 15 years of billing records across the table, courtesy of Priya's discovery request. Money that never once reached an actual contractor. I had someone check. There's no maintenance company on record. Sheriff's deputies, already there for crowd control, exchanged a look. Within a month, a financial audit revealed Karen had funneled over $300,000 in road fund, fees into accounts tied to her husband's landscaping business, which had never once touched that road. I didn't evict anyone. I didn't sell the easement to developers, though offers came fast. Instead, I let the HOA use the road for free, on one condition. Full financial transparency, new leadership, and my father's fence stays exactly where it is. Karen resigned before the audit was even finished. She's currently facing embezzlement charges and, last I heard, is renting an apartment 2 towns over. 6 months later, I sat on that same cedar fence with a beer, Watching the neighborhood kids play in the cul-de-sac Karen used to patrol like a warden. The woman who runs the HOA now, Mrs. Alvarez, brought over a casserole and thanked me for giving the neighborhood its trust back. Dad was right. Some fences you don't tear down. You use them to keep the wolves out. If this story reminded you why you should never throw away old paperwork, hit like and drop your own HOA horror story below. Subscribe for more true-to-life neighborhood justice stories. New one drops every week.